Okay, I have a presentation to give, so which slides can I use? Bad idea. This is the last thing you should be doing in terms of preparing for your talk. You have the topic, but who will be in the audience and what level of familiarity will they have with your topic? Start with the end. Go straight to the design of your key punchline, your biggest takeaway, the one thing you want the audience to get from your talk. Start there and design the conclusion. Move to the main body and then finally decide how you'll break through all the audience distraction and grab their attention with your opening. Speakers don't plan to fail, they fail to design properly. Welcome back to this weekly edition, every Tuesday of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story. I'm the president of Dale Carnegie Training Japan and best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery. We are bringing the show to you from our High Performance Center in Akasaka, in Minato-ku, the business center of Tokyo. Why the cutting edge? In this show, we are looking at the critical areas for success in business in Japan. We want to help advance everyone's thinking so that we can be at the forefront, the cutting edge of how to flourish here in this market. Before we get into this week's topic, here is what caught my attention lately. Automation of retail is upon us. We had a kiosk recently open on Akabane Station here in Tokyo with no staff and everything automated, similar to Amazon Go in the USA. 7-Eleven has now launched an experimental convenience store in Tokyo with an unmanned payment system integrated with facial recognition technology. The NEC-developed system checks customers' faces against pre-registered facial images of customers using cameras when they enter the outlet and make payments. In other news, Japan is opening up the door to foreign workers, but will they come? Japan is only 29th out of 63 countries in terms of its ability to attract talent. It's behind Taiwan and Estonia, according to the IMD World Competitiveness Center. According to a Gallup survey, even if there were total freedom of movement available, Japan isn't all that attractive, and the population would only grow an extra 1%. Canada's population, by contrast, under that situation, would grow 147%, and the USA by 46%. This is episode number 64, and we are talking about design your talk for success. Soridewa ikimashou. So let's get going. Many people don't start out with a design for their talk. They launch straight into the details, especially working with the slides. The lack of design shows as the structure isn't tight enough and points are not clear enough, and mostly the talk is totally forgettable. They feel happy, however, because the talk was completed and they can tick the box. This is often the case here in Japan, where giving the speech well and just giving the speech are confused. Our objective is to provide value to our audience and build our personal and professional brand, not just give a speech. We judge companies based on who we meet. If the person we're speaking to is really impressive, hey, we extrapolate that ability and project it to the whole team. Conversely, if we see a speaker and they're a dud, then we assume nobody at that shop is much good. Designing our presentation is a critical stage. We've identified our target audience for our key messages. We have selected the title to really engage our audience. We know the purpose of the exercise: inform, persuade, entertain, motivate to action. We choose one of those. Designing the conclusion is always a good place to start. The conclusion is really the summary of the key message we want to get across. The actual content delivery of the concluding message may vary from what we designed at the beginning, but is still a very good discipline to force us to focus on the one central thing we want our audience to take away from our speech. Having boiled all the various things we could say down to the one most important thing, we can now work backward and think about how we can get our audience to agree with our conclusion. Covering too many points, our audience will have trouble following the thread of our argument. Too few points, and the argument may not seem convincing for lack of depth and evidence. We may group similar ideas under the one umbrella idea and may include those together. We have the key points selected that we want to raise, and now we have to construct the argument to support the ideas. This would include some evidence based around statistics, data, expert opinion and authority, references, this type of thing. Usually 3 points is easy for an audience to follow, but if the subject matter is complex or if you've been given longer time to speak, then 5 points may be needed. There are a number of structures for how you present the individual ideas. It could be a result, problem, solution structure, or you could switch it to problem at the start and then outline the solution and the consequent result. The key is that the structure flows logically to make it as easy as possible to follow. Having derived the key points we are going to make, we go back and we design the 2 closes. One is the very end of the speech. This is to tie the whole presentation together. We might review what we said, or we might focus on a particular key point. Having designed that close, we now design a different one to follow the Q&A. We need this second close so that we can keep the whole proceedings on track. We have no control over what people raise at the end by way of questions. And so it often happens, an audience member will take the discussion off topic. If we just allow the event to finish at that point, we've lost control of the messaging. We need to wrap it up in a way that the audience have our key point ringing in their ears as they leave the venue. Finally, we design the opening. This is a tricky one because wrapped tightly together with the first impression we will make with the audience. If we try a joke that is weak and fails and falls flat, our initial impression is negative. If we start rambling, we lose the audience's attention. If we commence with something very boring, we're going to have trouble breaking through the noise that is humming away between the ears of our audience. We need to break into their attention and capture them for the receipt of our key message. Questions are very powerful. These should be asked rhetorically in a way that the audience is not sure if it's a rhetorical question or something they actually have to answer. This creates a certain amount of tension that drives their attention to what the speaker is saying. They are curious to find out what you meant. Find out more when we come back from the break. If you want to become a fully competent and confident presenter, then do the High Impact Presentations course. We are all being judged when we speak, be it in the internal team meeting or in a public environment. Be it the big bosses, clients, or an industry audience, everyone is evaluating us. Don't blow it. Get the best training on the planet. Do the High Impact Presentations course now in either Japanese or English. The bestseller, Japan Sales Mastery, is the new Bible of selling in Japan. To sell to Japanese buyers, you need to create long-term partner-level trust, fully understand Japanese buyers' real needs, convince buyers with your solutions, overcome their hesitation, fear, and doubt, know how to ask for the order, ensure repeat orders. This book is the product of 30 plus years in the trenches, selling in Japan. Order Japan Sales Mastery now. Welcome back. Other opening techniques include quoting some relevant expert on the subject. This is also good because it references the topic and gives the speaker additional authority to their message. Statistics are powerful because they are hard evidence and tell the audience this is going to be a fact-based presentation and not just opinion. Something shocking is a good way to grab attention, so make a provocative statement and then explain what you mean. We can always flag our conclusion at the start and then spend the rest of the time justifying our interpretation. This is a standard ploy and it has its own risks. Audiences are already distracted and anything that smacks of predictability sees them drifting away from us and straying into extraneous, unrelated thoughts, completely off topic. The title of our talk is usually selected before we get down to the nitty-gritty of the speech design. We may have been requested to speak on a certain subject, so our ability to use our title to intrigue may be contained. It is not such a problem because most people will have forgotten the exact title of your talk, and unless there is a slide with the title listed, they'll have trouble recalling it word for word. The opening, therefore, is the opportunity to break through all the audience noise, all their screaming monkeys running around inside their brains. This should be designed with great precision and delivered the same way. Don't digress or comment on something that has nothing in the lead up. Get straight into the opening and grab the audience. Before the start of the event, get there early and mix with some of the participants. Get them talking about the topic. This is a good way to connect with the audience by referencing what a couple of them said in the moments before the speech. The person referenced feels very special through the recognition, and the imaginary boundary between the speaker and the audience disappears, and the speaker becomes one with the group. Only at this point in our preparation should we start playing around with the slides to support the presentation. Once you have designed it this way, the need for a lot of text on the screen disappears. We know what we need to say, and so we can start introducing pictures and diagrams as well as text. Even the text can be just one word because we're able to talk to the key points covered by that word. This is very powerful because it keeps your eyes on the audience and off your text. When we are designing the talk, there will be keywords that tend to add a lot of weight to our argument. And these may be keywords we want to emphasize on the screen through a photograph or a video or some image. Everyone is used to seeing lots of text on the screen, and when you present in a different way, you remain memorable. The audience will not remember the details of your speech, but they will remember their impression of you, the speaker. Japan may be the land of Zen, but there is very little Zen influence going on when it comes to slides. Baroque, with its ornate detail, is more the flavour here, with many competing colours and screens packed with information spread across an astonishing number of different fonts, styles and sizes. Japan has a love for detail, but we don't have to put it all up on the screen. Japan also has a love for the written word, and what is written down carries a lot more weight than in Western countries. The point here is that Japan is still some way behind the rest of the world in this aspect of clear communication. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show is here to help you succeed in Japan. Subscribe on YouTube, share it with your family, friends and colleagues. Become a regular. Thank you for watching this episode, and remember, hit the subscribe button. Our website details are on screen now. enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. Awesome value, check it out. In episode 65, we are talking about not a sale, thank you, repeat sales, please. Find out more about that next week. So, yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Please join me for the next episode of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. We are here to help you. And we've only one direction in mind for you and your business, And that is up.